I do have some news that I'm very excited to talk about. Is anybody into silver? I'll take that as a yes. My good friend Andy Scheckman of Miles Franklin got an order for $50 million worth of silver eagles. $50 million. It was over the phone. He's like, yeah, I don't believe it. The next day, she wired the money. She sent him $50 million and said, I want to buy all the silver eagles I can get. The U.S. government is required by law, to make silver eagles in amounts equal to meet demand. That is how the law is written. It doesn't matter how much it costs. They are required by law to make silver eagles in amounts equal to demand. Right now, they are allocating silver eagles on a very slow basis. You're going to have to pay $10 to $12 over spot price to buy a silver eagle. Completely illegal. Completely our government trying to save the U.S. dollar, trying to hide the fact that they're printing so many U.S. dollars that they don't even know where they're going anymore. They are printing more money than they know where it's going. They can't keep track of it. All they know is unless they print more, everything's going to fall apart. So you're going to see more and more money printing over the next couple of weeks. I don't even know if this system's going to stay together for a few months. So that's kind of where we are. I have a YouTube conversation with Andy tomorrow where we'll flesh out who this person is. It's a woman from Texas, is all he's told anybody so far. But her $50 million order is just 1/20th of what she wants to buy. She wants to buy $1 billion worth of silver eagles. And to put that in perspective, if she's going to, and I wrote this down actually. Her name, it's probably Buffett if you ask me. So $50 million will equal 2 million ounces of 2 million silver eagles. If she buys all of them, it would be 40 million ounces of silver eagles. The U.S. Mint can do that. The U.S. Mint has the capacity. In 2015, they made 47 million silver eagles. So the U.S. Mint can't say, oh, we can't do it. There's only one problem with the U.S. Mint. They can't get the silver. They can't get that kind of silver in volume. So as we go, and we're going to do a lot of questions. So he was at the show, was it last Albuquerque? The deal is, and I'm going to need all your help to do this. And all we got to do is send emails and write letters to the U.S. Mint and the U.S. Treasury saying, hey, you have to do this by law. It doesn't matter what you pay for the silver. If you have to pay $200,000 for an ounce of silver, the law says that's what you have to do. And if we get enough people saying, hey, you're breaking the law, you're our government and you're breaking the law, I know they don't really care that much, but if we, as a silver community, and I know there's hundreds of thousands of us all around the world, if we keep pestering them, it does work. It does work. I've been pestering the Mint and the Treasury for close to 20 years now, a little over 20 years. And we've never been closer to seeing freely traded silver. Silver should at least be 1-to-1 ratio with gold. Gold's trading at $1,700. Silver's at, what, $18, $19? I wish, as anybody new to silver, kind of within the first year, this is the first time they've ever really thought about it. And I wish I was new to silver. Because all the shit I had to go through in the last 20 years, I could just invest now, and all of a sudden it goes from $18 to $18,000. I'll be going, yeah, I'm so smart. The silver story is an unbelievable story. It's a story of patriotism. Absolutely 100%. They wrote the Silver Eagle and Gold Eagle Act back in 1987 that allowed the Mint to create gold and silver eagles. In the gold eagle side, you had to use gold from mines within the United States. It was the law. You might say, what does it matter? It matters internationally. They all know how important gold is to the monetary system. The Silver Eagle law is different. The Silver Eagle law says you have to make as many coins as the people want, and if we run out of silver in the United States, you have to go everywhere else in the world and bid whatever you have to bid to get that silver to make those coins. They did. It wasn't an accident. This was done in 1987. It was part of the way they're going to take down the banking cabal. Does anybody believe in the banking cabal conspiracy? It's so true because I was a banker for 25 years. I know this. It is absolutely true.
Yeah, I sell gold and silver. When do you think we're going to be totally out? We won't be able to get it anymore.
When do we think we'll be totally out of silver and gold and not be able to get it more?
Because I can still get it.
Never. The question is price. Obviously, I'll sell my gold and silver to people. I got a lot of gold and silver. If people want to buy it, I wouldn't sell it silver for less than 10 grand an ounce, but I'll sell it. We're never going to run out. In a free market, theoretically, price and supply should go hand in hand. The lower the supply, the higher the price. As we know, the premiums on gold and silver especially, are through the roof. You would think there'd be massive amounts of silver everywhere. This $50 million order that Andy took, he could only supply about half of that in Silver Eagles. He bought out everybody. So we don't have a free market anymore. That's the problem. And free markets, if you hear that song, free markets are the road to freedom. You cannot have freedom with rigged markets. And our markets have been rigged since the very first computer programs invented by Alan Greenspan in the 1960s. That's how he got into the head of the Fed. He was the best computer programmer in the world at the time. So, yeah, silver will someday be subject to supply and demand. You will always be able to buy silver. It's just what will you have to pay for it is the question. But that's a great question. Next question.
Hey, Bix. Gold Warriors is a great read. So if you can find it to the crowd, great. But the J.P. Morgan buy of Silver Eagles and the melt, was the melt illegal?
100% illegal, yes. If we can prove. Okay. All right. So here's
Okay.
Yeah, I can repeat it. The first statement was a book called Gold Warriors by Sterling and Peggy Seagrave was an amazing book. They spent their lives tracking down 300,000 tons of hidden gold in the Philippines. Literally, court cases, government documents, they literally spent their lives tracking that down. And the traditional gold community still says only 200,000 tons have ever been mined in the history of mankind. It's a complete lie. So, yes, great book if you're interested in the nuts and bolts of banking and how they hide gold and things like that. The other question... What was the other question? Oh, the melt. Okay. So there are 3 J.P. Morgan gold and silver traders that are on trial right now. And they're on trial for RICO charges, meaning racketeering, rigging the gold and silver markets and the U.S. Treasury market. J.P. Morgan already the bank that these traders work for, already kind of pleaded guilty, paid $920 million fine. It's the largest, at that point, it was the largest commodity fine in history. And it was over an 8-year period with tens of thousands of felony rigging charges. Tens of thousands. And that happens with high-speed trading and computer rigging and market rigging. The 3 traders are on trial now. They're being hung out to dry. There's 30 people who are turning state's evidence against them, saying, yes, they were rigging the markets. Everything that Bix Weir and all those crazy GATA tinfoil hat people were saying for the past 20 years is true. The markets were rigged and still are rigged. Along with that, while they were rigging the price of silver lower, they were taking physical silver off the market and hiding it away. And they were doing it in various ways, mainly through the COMEX inventories. COMEX is a exchange for, it's actually a derivative exchange of gold and silver, but it's a big commodity exchange, and you could take delivery. And for 10 years, J.P. Morgan was the biggest entity taking deliveries. They were also buying Silver Eagles. And they're buying them from the U.S. Mint, and then they were, supposedly, according to Ted Butler, they were melting them down to make these 5,000-ounce bars that you use as the COMEX bar. So it's a big, huge, it's crazy expensive to do something like that. Because it's expensive to buy a Silver Eagle, because it costs money to make, the little beautiful, it's the most beautiful coin in the world. And then they melt them down. It is 100% illegal to melt down U.S. currency. To rip up a dollar is illegal, but to melt down it's a numismatic coin. I was just looking at this law the other day. It is a numismatic coin, meaning it is a coin that serves as money in the United States of America. That's why it says $1 on the back. It is literally destroying the money of America, which is a 15-year jail sentence. If J.P. Morgan, and I don't know if these traders were involved, but their boss definitely was, Blythe Masters. She's somehow getting away scot-free, and her boss, Jamie Dimon's, getting away scot-free. J.P. Morgan, I think, has 6 felony counts against it now. The largest bank in the world has 6 felony counts. They've paid over $40 billion in fines just to get out of stuff. And we allow these people to run our day-to-day, our lives. You know what they say? They say, screw you. If we go down, you go down. You lose your checking account, savings account, because their bank is intertwined with every single other bank. And savings and loan, and you name it. Everything would go down. You wouldn't be able to buy a beer at this place if J.P. Morgan went down. And that's a sad thing. But they got us that way. These banks are horrific, and it's not, you can't really put your finger on, it's Jamie Dimon or this guy or that guy. It's the whole thing. At the COMEX, that commodity exchange, I think it's 800 consultants that tell them the rules, and they're all from the banks. We are so controlled by our banking system, and it's so beyond corrupt, it's scary.
So, just my question real quick. I love the coins, and I love the bars. The bars are cool. They're heavy. They're just cool as heck. Mm-hmm. Love the coins, stacking eagles and other monetaries.
And Road to Ruta coins.
And Road to Ruta coins. I just want to get your top 3. If you had to, maybe give one list if you were starting from scratch, and then another list if you were kind of, on your way and you're looking for just that topping it off kind of deal.
Yeah. It's a problem because my top 3 now have premiums that are just through the roof. My number 1 was always pre-65 coinage. Before 1965, there was silver in our money. They took out Kennedy. You can talk about the conspiracy all you want. But the fact is, after they took out Kennedy, they took silver out of our money. But back in the day, they call it junk silver. That name always cracked me up because back when I was buying it originally, it sold for less than the spot price of the weight of the silver. And I'm like, you guys are crazy. Not only is this the money of the United States of America, it's in small denominations, so it's hard to counterfeit. This is the greatest thing ever. And I was like, buy bags of it as much as you can. And I still say that, except the premiums on pre-65 coinage are up at like 30 or 40% over spot, which is crazy. Same with Silver Eagles. 30 or 40% over spot. That's one of the questions I have for Andy about that woman who's buying $50 million worth of Silver Eagles. Is she paying the 30 or 40% premium? Now, true. Yeah, Andy's going to mark that up too. The reality is, under our law, under the Silver Eagle law, if you're buying in bulk, the U.S. Mint is required to give you a discount by law. I was just reading the law because this came up, and I have an interview with Andy tomorrow, and I'm like, okay, we need to flesh out why she's doing this, and the fact that she asked him to tell everybody in the silver community that she was doing this, that she already made a 50 million ounce purchase, and she's going to make purchases up to $1 billion worth of silver. You don't do that if you're trying to get the cheapest amount of silver. You'd go in and buy COMEX bars and take delivery of these big 5,000 ounce bars. This is not about that. This is about taking your country back, I think. I mean, can you imagine there's close to 600 billionaires in the United States of America. There's 2,500 in the world, billionaires. At least the billion. You got your multi-billionaires. But can you imagine if all of them at the same time thought, oh my God, if the banks go down, I don't have anything. I'm going to get me some silver. I mean, this could be the beginning of that type of a rush going into. I talked to Andy briefly. He said the orders coming from the mint, he bought everybody out of Silver Eagles, all the dealers and brokers, and then he said the orders coming from the mint are all allocated to her for August. So September, you see, this is big. And that's why I want everybody, I'll put the word out, everybody to contact the U.S. Mint. And Janet Yellen, the Treasury Secretary, this is your job, and the U.S. Mint has changed a lot in the last 6 months. This guy, David Ryder, was the head of the Mint, and he's a true patriot. He knows what he was doing with the Mint. He's the guy who put that little notch in the bottom of the coins. Did you hear about that change they made to gold and silver eagles? I think that they were going to put some kind of identifier in there so that you know what's a real U.S. Mint created coin versus the fake one. But then Biden let him go, and the woman who's in charge of the U.S. Mint now is a human resource professional her whole life. She's been in human resources her whole life. I'm like, why? Why? And then when she came in, they pretty much put everybody on allocation. They make, the Mint has made up to 47 million silver eagles in a single year, and now they can't even make 8 million. And it's not like they sold the equipment. Is the Denver Mint still there? Yeah. They blamed COVID for a long time, but how long are they going to go blaming COVID? So, yeah, things are changing, and they're changing fast. So get your silver eagles while you can. But I would say today, I didn't answer your question. If you know, I told you what I wouldn't buy now. I wouldn't buy eagles, and I wouldn't buy the pre-65. Just the premiums are ridiculous. I'd buy 1 ounce rounds. That's just a 1 ounce generic. They usually have the cheapest premiums. I try to stay away from 100 ounce bars, mainly because 100 ounce bars are great if silver's $20 an ounce. That's what, do the math, $2,000 for a 100 ounce bar. If it's $20,000 an ounce, all of a sudden you're dealing with a $2 million bar. And that's a little harder to sell. You don't know what's in that bar unless you drill the hole in it, and it gets more complicated. So I tell everybody, just at this point in time, let's just stick to 1 ounce, 10 ounce maybe. I have seen some gold bars that were drilled, and they were not gold inside. What was that? Oh yeah, the gold silver ratio is just the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of in my life.